Icon Radio.
Icon Radio.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Deep Talk. Today we are joined by the young and talented artist, Nevo.
Yeah.
Nevo, welcome to the show. Deep Talk is a show all about wisdom, your inner power. It's about consciousness, elevating consciousness for ourselves, for others, and for the entire world. So Neville, thank you for coming on this show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Maybe you?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's been very hot these days.
The weather.
Yeah. So Neville, do you want to... I have a question I always start out with before you actually talk about, yourself. And the question is, if you are not your name, if you are not your profession, if you're not your gender, if you are not your relationships, if you are not your position or status in society, then who are you?
I haven't ever found myself thinking about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Just what comes to you. What is the first thing? If I say you're not any of those things, who are you then?
Just a person who goes with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I may describe myself like a river.
So you're like the river.
Yeah, I'm like a river. So just go with the flow, and a person just flows with everything.
Okay.
I'm not rigid. And yeah, that's the first thing that has come to my mind.
Okay, that's beautiful, and that's very deep also. So that all of us have different elements within us, because we are made from the same thing that all the elements are made of, which is energy. And so we have water, which is really flowing. So water element, when you have a lot of water, you can easily go here and easily go here. You fill. Like if you're in a glass, you take that shape.
Yes.
If you're in a bowl, you take another shape. And the element of water is one of the most powerful elements, because what can actually deteriorate stone or shape stone is actually water. Water quenches also fire. It also quenches fire. And thirst, it also quenches fire. Fire, maybe thirst is related to overheating in the body, right? And water also stores information. So you receive a lot of information. You can transfer information into this glass of water.
I'd like to know how.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that if we, in another section, we'll do that experiment in another section, okay? All right, well, so you're a person that flows. That's who you are outside of all of that. Isn't it nice also to drop all of those things? And do you feel different when you think of yourself in that way? Because I saw there was a shift in the way you even sat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we identify so much with I'm this person, I'm this, I'm that. So we start we start fronting in some sense of who we think we are, right?
Yeah.
But then when we let it go, we're just I'm just a person.
Yeah. But actually, I've had some reflections on my own times, and think that all of the labels we have as a society, like CEO, head of, we have this and that. I think it's very unnecessary. I think we're just supposed to be. That's what I usually think most of the time. We just be and exist. We're just we're passing tide in this ocean of the universe. So if we start defining ourselves with all of these titles, you're too limiting. It's too limiting.
It limits you, isn't it? Because if you're Neville, then you're not anything else other than Neville.
Yeah, true.
But if you drop Neville, you can be anything. That's very, very true. Yeah. So Neville, do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself, what you're up to, where you've, in terms of what you're really doing with your life right now?
So I'm a rapper, I'm an artist. I'm also a student. Now, these are where the titles come in. I'm an artist. I'm a student.
What do you study?
I'm studying journalism.
Okay.
In my final year at the University of Nairobi.
Uh-huh.
I'm also a photographer, also a videographer, an editor. Basically, I'm a creative as a whole. I come up with different things. Like I like creating something out of nothing. Maybe soon to be a father. Who knows about the future? Now I'm currently my parents' kid.
You're
so basically that's how I define myself as.
I have an interesting question. So if you didn't know how old you were, how old would you say you are?
25, 26.
25, 26. And how old are you really?
22.
22. Okay. You know that number changes depending on what's going on in your life.
True.
Yeah. Neville, another question for you. So if there were 3 qualities that really, really are important to you, what are they?
As a person or like...
Qualities, they could be anything like freedom, peace, or anything. What are the 3 qualities that are so important to you?
Love. Understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? I don't know how to put if there's a single word for this, but being flexibility.
Okay. Do you want to tell me what you mean? I mean, why those 3 are so important to you?
So on love, I usually think like 99% of the problems we have in this world are because we do not love each other.
That's true.
Because you see, if we loved each other more, we wouldn't be having wars. What's happening in Ukraine and Russia and all over the world. Ukraine and Russia is just as an example. Like if you love your brother, you won't want to. If you love your brother, by brother I mean like both brother and sister. It's universal. So if you love your neighbor, you won't want something bad to happen to them. So I believe love solves like 99% of everything. If you have love in you, you won't be in unnecessary quarrels. You won't even be having a lot of pressure to, I haven't made it in life because of so and so. I want to be like so and so. And envy comes as a result of lack of love. So, but if I love you and I see you doing well, I'd want more for you to continue doing well and being better. So, like I feel being loving is like love is literally everything. Love is the answer to all. Yeah.
When I think deeper about what you're saying, I very much agree. But I also but I feel like the reason why we don't really love others, because we need to understand that, right?
Yes.
Why don't we love others? To me, it's because we don't really love ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't love yourself, you don't feel good. You don't feel enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you don't feel enough, how can you allow other people to be more?
True.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really feel like the key is also in self-love, We talked about this with Kaya last week, like, they always say, love your neighbor as thyself.
Yeah.
For the work that I'm doing right now, I really realize it's like, actually, love yourself. Love yourself as you would love your neighbor in some sense, because the way you might look after who are you close to?
Family.
Your family? Who are you close to in your family? We'll just give an example. Can we say your mom? Are you close to your mom?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the way you talk to yourself sometimes, like when you made a mistake or when things aren't going your way, would you ever speak to your mom like that?
No.
You see. So imagine like if your mom was going through a hard time at work, if your mom had made a mistake, how would you speak to her? And then you do that to yourself. Like, we're not doing that.
True.
We're really like beating ourselves up all the time. So I feel like one of the wisdoms for this time is love yourself as you would your loved one or your neighbor. Yeah.
To add up on that, like, you need to, like, you can't love, self-love is the best love. So for you to love another person, you need to understand first of all how to love yourself. So if you can't have self-love within you, obviously it will be hard for you to love your neighbor or some other person, because you yourself do not even understand what is love. You just go by the, like, you do not.
It's true. You don't know how to love. Yeah.
So like you do not take the time to feel and sit and actually. Yeah.
Do you feel you love yourself?
I'm learning. I can't say like
I'm there. Yeah.
I'm there yet, but as time goes by, I'm continuing to love the little by little aspects about myself. Yeah.
I want to go to another quality you raised, which is understanding. What do you mean by that, and why is understanding so important?
I think, especially as adults, we need to like understand, like, people are different. People are from different backgrounds. People have different beliefs. So other than the universal things like you should not kill and steal from people, we should also understand in some societies it's okay for, like I was reading on Twitter, in some people it's okay for them to interrupt others while talking, like they are not raised on turn taking. So as a person, you should also be understanding that people are different from you, and you should understand that it's okay someone being different from you. We are 7 billion people on earth. We cannot all be the same. So if you take time and understand someone's perspective on issues or where they're from, you'll understand on how or why they do certain things the way they do. And if you understand that, you won't be quick to judge them. You won't be quick to getting in a quarrel with them, because you are understanding the factors that shape a person.
Okay. I have a little bit on that, but I think we're going to take a break first, and then we'll come back to something that you just said. All right, we'll see you right after the break.
Icon Radio.
And we're back. Deep Talk. I'm your host, Neha, and we are here today with Nevo. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. That's Icon Radio KE. Or we're streaming www.iconradio.co.ke. It's quite a mouthful, all of that. So, for me, it was my husband who taught me something about understanding. I don't know if you've heard about these other words like overstanding and innerstanding.
I'm hearing it
for the first time. So it's funny, as human beings, there are words, and if you actually study the words and where they came from, they tell you a lot. Understanding is like going under something and seeing it from below, right? So you can analyze it. But overstanding is seeing something from a high place. So when you elevate your consciousness, you can see a situation from a very, very high place. And that means you're seeing it almost from a godly lens. So for example, let's say I have an issue with a family member. Like a family member has taken some possessions. Like let's say it's an inheritance issue or something like that. And one of my family members took inheritance that is supposed to be shared or whatever, something like this, right? Like a dispute. So understanding it could be, okay, I understand this person maybe was in need or whatever. And that's why they took it. But overstanding, you would really be able to see that this person is playing out their poverty in the real world. And that has nothing to do with you and has nothing to do with your inheritance. It's just them playing out the poverty within them. So you're seeing it from a higher perspective. And when you see it from a higher perspective, you're no longer in the situation. You're above the situation. So that's the power of overstanding. And then innerstanding. But anyways, we don't need to get into that. That's enough for today.
The overstanding one is a new concept, actually.
Yeah, the Rust has used that word. At least my husband is the one who taught me that word.
Oh,
Yeah, he didn't explain it like that, but I've come over the years to learn what it means. Yeah. And then the last one, flexibility. Why is that so important to you?
Because the only sure thing in life is change and death. So always you need to be like, I've interacted in a short span of life that I've been here on earth. There's a lot that has happened. So from the time I was born to when I can consciously remember existing, like we had these big televisions that were black and white, and you had to stand on top of the rooftop trying to find audio channels, the TV channels. Then there came the color TV, then the flat screens, then the smart TVs. So there's some people who are still rigid, who still want to remember the analog side. But times require that we are flexible and adjust to the new times that are changing. So I feel as a person, you need to be flexible with everything and every situation you are around in. You can't always be rigid on how you do your own things. There's another practical example, like when I started working at DJ Brandon. I had my, prior I was still a photographer and a videographer, and I had my own ways how to do my stuff, and they usually came out good. And I used to think those are my way that I'm used to doing is how it should be, and I've done it, I've tried it and tested it. So any other method to shoot, yes, I listen to it, but I'd still go back to my own ways. But now after some shooting Sammy and learning a few tricks from him, I was able to adjust to different kinds of ways to shoot and still achieve the same result, even in an easier way. Different styles of editing, how to simplify your workflow. So if I was rigid and stuck with my ways, I feel like I wouldn't have grown as a person. So flexibility also allows room for growth, because as you're flexible, you're learning more things and acquiring more information, and as you acquire more information, you're also growing as a person.
Do you know why I'm smiling? Because you just talked about how you're like water, and I was telling you how we can store information in water, and now you're telling me how flexibility is so important to you. Water is fluid, flexible, and also about learning information, and that's why you said you get more information when you're flexible. So you can really see the theme is very connected to you, like this water, this idea of water for you is very much part of your essence.
You can. Okay, I'm learning it right now, but
yeah, you can see that. You can see that. So Nevo, tell me a little bit, where did you grow up? Where were you born and where were you raised? Are you a Nairobi guy?
I'm a Nairobi guy.
Nairobi guy.
One of those few people who say Atuje and Oshago.
You haven't been?
I have been to my dad's side twice. I was still young, I was 9 years.
Yeah.
11 years. To my mom's side, the last time I was 19 or 18. But I've gone two times on both sides. 11 years. To my mom's side, the last time was 19. Idea on the country life, literally, and I can't, and it's not something. It's not my fault. I don't say it's my fault. It's just who I am. I haven't been to the countryside. I partially know the countryside life because I studied in the Rift Valley sides, but I was born and raised in Nairobi, specifically Umoja area. So I've grown in Eastlands my whole life.
So you really, that's your world, huh?
Yeah.
Nairobi's really your world.
Eastlands, to be more specific. I haven't been to the bougie side. Maybe visiting a person a month or two, but I'm born and raised in
Eastlands.
Yes.
And there's a lot of music coming out of Eastlands, isn't there?
A lot.
What's going on in Eastlands? How was it there? How is it there?
So to me, it's fine. When I came to interact with people from the Westlands and the more bougie sides, and you tell them experiences they see it as something shocking.
Yeah.
But when you grow up, something like the sound of gunshots firing.
It's not a big deal, yeah.
It's not a big deal. Especially in Umoja, there's a saying there are more bars and brothels and hotels than schools and churches, and everything combined together. Still, the number of bars are more than that. Because you find in a place where we were living, more than 10 bars in a line, and then there's one church. So you can imagine on a Saturday, the bars are competing with who has the loudest volume, and the churches also reciting who has the highest volume. So we've grown up in a place I'm used to noise. I'm used to what else can I say? And there's a lot of drugs and crime. That one I can't lie. But now it was my own choosing, like not to engage in the life that we see there. Like it took a deliberate effort to try and see beyond that. But yeah.
Did your parents have a big part to play in that, or your family, or?
Yeah, I'd say that because yeah, I was blessed to be like I'm not stupid. Okay, no, stupid sounds like a bad word. So like book wise, school wise.
Okay, you did well.
So, yeah, I did well. So like my parents tried their best. I went to like I studied in a private school for some time. Then finished my primary in a public school. Then high school, I managed to get called in one of the best national schools in Kenya. Managed to pass. Though according to my standards, I failed, but it was still a pass, so I can't complain. Then I went to the best university in Kenya, the University of Nairobi. So yeah, my parents have played a part in supporting. Like there's never a time that they refused that you cannot go to this school because you could not
afford it. They made sure you could.
Made sure you.
So what happened to you in high school? Why did you just fail?
You know, in high school, I saw that the book way is not my way. Like so everyone in high school, everyone is smart. You know, in a national school, everyone had over 370 marks. So like, especially in our time when we were called. So everyone wants to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, and all that. So like I started saying to myself, the reality on the ground is people have first-class degrees and they're not passing. So I won't spend so much time concentrating trying to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. Initially I wanted to be a chef. But I said everyone is looking at the big things. What if I become a chef and now cook for these people who do not want to pursue other things? So yeah, I got a B. Like I was 1 point away from a B plus. So it was decent. And yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah,
B is not for bad.
Yeah, it's yeah, and I changed my passions along the way. I decided to become an artist. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how it was.
All right, that's super interesting. I want to come back to some of the stories about Umoja.
Yeah.
But let's take a break for now. We'll be right back.
Icon Radio.
And we're back with a deep talk. I'm your host, Neha, and we are here with Nevo.
What up?
So I wanted to come back to your story about Umoja and the stuff that you saw around you. How did you feel seeing, like, for me, I'm really interested by this. Like, I went to see some musicians in Umoja, and I was raised in a different time, a very different time, and a very different place also. But when we went to Umoja and we were waiting for them, and they came, the first thing these guys did, this was 11 a.m., they went to the bar at 11 a.m., and I asked them, I said, why is it that you're drinking in the day? And they're like, why are you starting the day with that? Not even like water, or breakfast, And they were like, we need to get some strength. We need to feel some power. I wonder what your thoughts are about the fact that people are growing up where that they don't have access to other stuff. The access is mainly something that's really destructive,
I think it's quite normal, on my side.
You didn't see it as, this is not good, or
when you grow up knowing that that's your reality.
Yeah, so you just think it's normal.
Yeah, so you think it's normal, like you're not exposed before you get exposed to everything else. That's normal. That's your reality.
Sure.
Yeah, so before that was normal. Seeing people drunk in the sewages, in the streets, drunkards.
How did it make you feel? How did it make you feel when you would see it as a young man?
As a young person, I detested drunk people, and I wanted. I told myself, no matter what happens in my life, I do not want to be that person. So when you're from there, I usually tell my friends when you're from where we're from, you do not grow up wanting to be something. Rather, you grow up not wanting
to be some things.
Yeah. So when you grow up seeing people actually something like gender-based violence, Like it was so.
You mean sexual violence?
No, not sexual, like physical between us.
So, okay, violence against just women.
Against women, yeah. So like it was normal, and it was mostly like it was actually women, husbands and wives.
Mm-hmm.
I was so used to seeing them fight
Physically.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. Like, oh yeah, wamepigana tena. Like there's a time we had a neighbor who used to fight. Today they fight. 2 days for 2 days they're normal. Again tomorrow they fight. So to me, when you're a child growing up, you see that it's normal. Like it's normal fighting people. If someone annoys you or gets you,
that's what you should do.
That's what you do, because that's what you
do. You find that you can react when you're very angry? You feel like physically?
Yeah, it got to, I did not know how to fight when I was young. So to counter that, I knew how to use my words. So
you've been used. It's kind of violence. Yeah, it's another kind of violence.
Violence, because also when people are fighting physically, like especially husband and wives, you know the kind of words they hurl at each other, but you wouldn't want your kid being around. Hearing those words.
But you were around it.
Yeah. So like when you're exposed to those words at a young age, you find yourself, a kid is 4 years, 5 years old, already knows how to curse. Doesn't know what the meanings are, but
he's hearing the words.
If you hear, you know that what you see is, if I see so and so cursing, it makes the other person. When they say certain words, it makes the other person angry. Meaning these words could cause harm to this person. So also when someone makes you angry, like I had this problem in high school. I used to really curse like a lot. Like I used to talk bad to people, like always ready to be defensive and stuff like that. But it reaches a point like you see it's not worth it, and yeah, you eventually outgrow certain things. But it takes a deliberate effort, because like I have some friends from there who, like, if you look at him for too long and you're walking down the road, like he'd actually ask for a fight, like, why are you looking at him so much? Like,
yeah,
it sounds crazy, but
yeah,
it was like, like, why are you looking at me a lot? Why do you want to fight me? And it started a lot of fights like that, just by simply looking at you.
Yeah, because that person, it seems to me like at a deeper level, that person is really ashamed of himself. And therefore, when somebody's looking at him, he's like, what you looking at?
Yes.
It's not because he's just naturally aggressive. It's because he's got shame of himself.
And it becomes a habit. And yeah.
Because I assume, when people look at me, I assume it's because I'm pretty. No, as a woman, you often feel, when you're looked at, you feel good, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that shame can do a lot to you.
Very, very much.
I don't know, man. Where do you start with a situation where it's just everywhere? And it reminds me of the States, because in the States, there's quite a big difference between different, economic class. Like in Kenya, we have a huge class problem. People think we have a tribal problem, but we don't have a tribal problem. We have a class problem, because politicians who are wealthy are of all tribes.
Yeah.
Right? Businessmen who are wealthy are of all tribes. It's not really a tribe problem. There's some intersection between the economics and the tribal. Or, I don't even like that word tribal, but anyways, let's say community, nations, whatever. But we really have, in America, you really have a big difference between, let's say, there's a crossover between race and class. So in the white neighborhoods versus the black neighborhoods. In the black neighborhoods, for every, block, you'll have 3 liquor stores, a gun store, blah, blah, blah. In the white neighborhoods, for every block, you'll have a grocery store, you'll have a video shop, or something different. It's a complete, and it's the same thing in Westlands, where I grew up. So Eastlands and Westlands, what's that? Which is West Side? Yeah. I grew up in Westlands, and in Westlands, the feature was the mall. That's the biggest thing there was the Sarit Center. At that time, the Sarit Center was the only mall when I grew up, in Westlands. And then the mall opened. It was such a big thing. So for us, the things that we used to do was go to the mall and hang out. You know what I'm saying? Your environment really shapes what you're doing with your time. So we used to put on whatever, our best clothes on a Saturday, and go out to be seen. But there was not really, it was just bar after bar after bar after bar. On my residential road, there was only kiosks. There was not even a duka. Right?
Yeah.
So what do we used to do? You used to go and walk, and you visit your neighbors. And there's nothing to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was also a different time.
different. And also like what you're exposed to determines who you are. So like the good thing is like my parents made sure at least I got to see from a young age how the other side is.
Okay, they took you to other places.
Yeah, so when on certain weekends, like after when you close school, you go out to malls. And by that time when I was growing up, now malls were starting to
come.
So
Yeah,
there weren't a lot of malls. There was village. Can I classify village market?
it's a mall. Yeah,
Yeah. Then there's Flash.
although they wouldn't say that. They would say it's a shopping experience, but
Then there's Westgate. Those are some of the
things.
the things.
So you got to see other kinds of
Yeah, so I got to see other life.
spaces, and other lifestyles,
So
And how did that make you feel?
sometimes it made me hate growing up in such an environment, because you're like seated there. Especially like I had a aunt living in the sides of Ngong Road. So like when you go visit them and you find like she has like the environment is like relaxed. The children there, playing is peaceful, and when someone when you're playing as kids, someone wrongs you, the first reaction where I'm from, it's like fighting. The very first thing there, like you have to talk amicably. Then there's DSTV was such a big deal. I really used to like beg my parents to
Please get it, yeah.
like I wanted to watch Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. So those were some of the things that inspired. I'd say they made me kind of resent the Eastland side, but also I feel like it also helped me see the other side of life. Saying like it's good having experienced both worlds, so that when you go somewhere, like the culture shock you get won't be too much. Because I've been with some people. I've gone to the mall and seen some people surprised at escalators, how they work. And they're adults, like they're older than me, but when they see an escalator, they're very surprised, or like they're surprised there can be a lot of shops selling nice clothes. In these lands we have markets like selling second-hand clothes on the streets. You just go take it and then you try it on. They pay 100 shillings. In malls you have nice boutiques. You have to go. Be gentle about asking for. You just can't take any clothes and try to. You have to go to a changing room and that. So for some people, like it's a culture shock. But once you get to experience both sides at a young age, it helps you and shape you, seeing the reality of the world for what it is. So like if you work hard enough, you can experience this the good side and leave the other side.
Yeah, interesting that you classify it as good and bad. We're going to come back to that right after the break.
Icon Radio.
And we're back with Deep Talk with young and fluid and flexible and maybe overstanding Nevo.
One and only.
Nevo, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about what made you get to where you are. Like, what made you become an artist, and now you're here in Icon Radio? How did you get here? What was your journey like?
Okay, so like I say my journey as an artist, and I tried to trace it back and found out like when I was little, since a young age, I was always interested in music, and more specific, like the types of songs that were playing, they were like the Eminem was on his prime, Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Kanye West, Kelly Hilson, and all, they made like really nice songs, the likes of Neo, Fantasia. So I was the kid who would cram literally every song that's played on TV, on the beach. My parents used to like say, you focus on your studies, stop singing along to this. So these songs won't be brought to the exams, but I didn't care about what they were saying. I just wanted to sing along to everything I could. So by the time I was 11, I tried writing something. Like I tried with my friends. I used to write just some rhyming words. That was the most knowledge I had in music, just rhyming words. Since I listened to a lot of hip hop, and so like I tried rhyming. Then I got to high school, Form 1. I tried performing my first full song. And once I was on stage, I rapped like the first four lines. Then I froze. It was my first time like publicly. We were like 1,200 students. So in front of everyone, teachers, workers. So I fumbled, and like how high school kids are very impatient. Boo! So at the time, it discouraged me from continuing with like music. I just decided to just write as a pastime when I'm bored.
Yeah.
Writing rhymes, but yeah. So from in my high school period, I didn't really put so much effort into that. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a chef. Got to school. Decided I also wanted to try photography and videography. But music was still on the back of my mind. But those things that you push like I'll just do it one day. So when COVID hit, I decided like I was seeing some inspirational things. Like I listened to a lot of J. Cole, and then there's a song which he says, how does it say it? The only thing worse than death is a regret-filled coffin. So like that quote stuck with me. Like there's no way I'd find out if I'm a good artist unless I go and try it. So if I try and fail, at least I tried and I saw it didn't work. And if I try and succeed, well and good. So I decided to go and record in 2020. Also, my brother inspired me also since he was an artist. And yeah, since then, I saw it's something easy. I was only knocking myself out for nothing. And yeah, since then it's been an upward trend.
So you can already see that truth that you have to work hard is not true.
Not true, yeah.
Kitsua sat where you're sitting, and he told me that he didn't do anything to have all the opportunities that came to him in his career. He just sat there, and they came, Because when you're aligning with what you're supposed to be doing, then everything just starts working for you.
Everything falls in place.
Yeah.
Also, how I came to be here, because like I wanted to do like photography. I was still doing photography and videography. Like that's my main job and my main passion. But still, when I came here, I found out they had a studio. I told them I also perform. I'm also a rapper, and yes, I have recorded some songs here. And also, I didn't have to go a long way looking for many studios.
Yeah,
everything fell into
place
how it's supposed to.
How do you feel when you're rapping?
I feel I can't specifically say rapping, but when I'm in the booth, I feel like it's another something just comes inside of me, like I'm in another world, especially when you put on the headphones, like the music banging, you visualize things and you see you're just in another dimension. Words can't explain it.
You get into another dimension.
You've interacted with a lot of artists who they can explain.
It's not only for artists.
Yeah. When someone is in their element,
you
just feel like something. I don't want to say possessed because it's a controversial word.
No, you change the meaning.
Something possesses
you
and you become someone else, and then when you step out from there, you just go back to
your normal self.
Yeah.
So the ancient Indians makes me think of this. The ancient Indians, we're used to being awake, and then we go to sleep. We had dream, and then we wake up from the dream. The ancient Indians asked, what if we can wake up from this life the way we wake up from a dream? What if life is also another level of dream, non-reality? What if there's a reality that's more real than our living life? You see that dimension right there that you talked about?
Yeah.
That's the real dimension. That's the real dimension. That's the reality of everything. That feeling, that experience, that flow. But we're asleep. We're asleep. Because there's a lot of density within us and around us, and also we've been programmed to believe this is real. But when you look at this table with if if you break it down to what it is, it's just vibrating atoms.
Yeah.
Yeah?
True.
We know this from physics. What are atoms? They're energy that are just vibrating like this, right? Particles that are vibrating like this. And actually, they don't actually touch each other. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's energy in them, they're bouncing off the energy of each other. Do you know what I'm saying? And what am I made of?
Energy.
Vibrating atoms.
Yes.
Now, so I'm vibrating atoms and the table's vibrating atoms. And what's the air?
Vibrating atoms.
So what's the difference? Do you see what I'm saying? So this reality, we're seeing things in a certain way, but it's not really how they are. So when you get into that other level, now you get into the reality, the realer reality. You know, that's what that's why you have like, they talk about 9 dimensions. Some people talk about 11 dimensions, and that we're only in 3 dimensions. Well, most of us are living in 3 dimensions, you know, which is this, it has height, depth, and width, you know, but there are 4 dimensions, there are 5th dimensions, there are 6th, 8th, 9th, and some say 11th dimensions that we can operate in. But that's a whole long other discussion.
I've ever looked into that. You know, there's, you know how we see, though we're existing, when we see time and space, then there's another place you can see over it, seeing, when you're in the 4th dimensions, there's more things you can see over time. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I tried getting into.
But you probably got into 5D when you flow.
Oh, in the booth. It's actually,
or 60
when you're performing on stage, it's even
better.
Yeah, because there's a time last week I was performing on a show, so like I was really nervous at first. I had my friend, I told her like I feel like I'm not good enough, I haven't rehearsed well, you know. It was an acoustic show, and I'm a rapper, everyone is coming singing like beautiful live songs. You know, I'm coming there just to rap to people. She just told me relax. She got me a guitarist. We rehearsed for like 5 minutes. When I was on stage, just closed my eyes, decided to flow with the guitar, and it just like I was lost in the moment.
Yeah,
I literally so I was shown videos of the.
Or you were found in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, true. I got found in the moment, and I was like closing my eyes and really enjoying and feeling and flowing with everything. You know, the energy in the room, everyone, and I feel like energy is also transmissible. So if you bring a positive vibe.
Yeah, you're playing it off, yeah.
So like everyone was also in a positive vibe and nice mood. So yeah, I believe it's true what you're saying. I've looked into it too.
Yeah. So aren't you glad you decided to be fluid and just give it a go?
True, I am.
Yeah.
Very glad.
Right. Well, thank you for that. We're gonna be right back after this.
Icon Radio.
All right, we've come to the last section of the show. We're gonna do a reading. You chose to have a card reading.
Yeah.
And you choose not to make the issues that you asking the cards, you don't make that public.
Yeah. No.
Unless you wish to.
No, not that much.
All right. Well, it may become clear as you see. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to use, which hand are you, right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
Right-handed. So you want to use your left hand, the opposite hand that you normally do. And what you want to do is you want to put your hand just like over the cards, just a little bit over, and you'll feel a little tingling, you know, like energy. It's just energy. And wherever your hand really feels like going, just pick that card. Okay?
Close my eyes.
Only whatever you want. You don't need to. Just whatever helps you to feel. Just trust where the feeling is taking you. All right, just go down and pick the card that you're just feeling like called to pick. That one? All right, so we're going to take this one. So this card is called Totality. Totality. We're going to put it right here. I don't know if we want to show the camera. You want to show the camera? Let's show the camera right here. Totality. All right. So what you can see here in this card is that there's three acrobats, trapeze artists, and they're working together. And because they're working together, their individual bodies are making one whole thing. Okay? So totality is automatically, it's not, yes, we are total in ourselves, but we are also total together. Okay? And you can see it's like a sunset, so it's like a completion. So there's a feeling of completion as they working together to create a beautiful thing, you know. So the working together part seems to be very key for you to hear. But we can also read what the wisdom says. So it's right here, totality. Let's see what it says. Every moment there's a possibility to be total. Whatsoever you are doing, be absorbed in it so utterly that the mind doesn't think anything of it. Nothing is there. Just that flow you talked about. Okay. These three women are high in the air, playful and free, but alert and interdependent. In a trapeze act, nobody can afford to be absent a little bit, even for a split second. And it's this quality of total attentiveness to the moment at hand that is represented here. We may feel there are too many things to do at once. We may get bogged down in trying to do it a bit here, a bit there, instead of taking one thing at a time and going deep into it. Or perhaps we think this task is boring. But we've forgotten it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So this card is just basically telling you that it's possible to get into that flow that you talked about in the booth in everything you do, if you give your total attention to it. Okay? But there's the theme of the team that I saw, but there's the theme of the cards, which is about going into the moment for everything, not just for the things you think you like to do. All right, you can pick another card. All right. This one is the Lovers. Okay, it's a beautiful card. It's a very beautiful card. Okay, to me this card is all about beauty. It's also about reflection. It's about symmetry, you know, and of course love, and the power of love to in sacredness, because this is a sacred symbol here. Let's see what this is a major card, so it's a big card because it has Roman numerals, and Roman numeral number 6 is right here. The lowest love is sex, it is physical. The highest refinement of love is compassion. Very few people know what love is. Many think that sexuality is love, but it is not love, it's only a potential for love. If you become aware, alert, and meditative, then sex can be transformed into love. When your love is not just a desire for the other, when your love is not a need, when your love is a sharing, when your love is not that of a beggar, but that of an emperor, then add meditation to that, or going into awareness, and then the pure fragrance is released. And that fragrance is compassion. Okay. We cannot, okay. Only if we accept that true love is beyond physical. Okay? Then we can welcome love when it's happening, and we can say goodbye with gratitude when it's not. Then we're not attached. And then as we mature, we can begin to experience the love that exists beyond the physical and honors the unique individuality of the other. We begin to understand that our partner often functions as a mirror, reflecting unseen aspects of our deeper self and supporting us to become whole. This love is based on freedom, not expectation and not need. Its wings takes us higher and higher towards the universal love. Do you understand this thing about the mirror? So basically, your partner, can trigger you in many ways. They can annoy you, upset you. They cannot meet your expectations. When you really understand and overstand things, you'll realize that those things that you're seeing in your partner, the things that you don't like, the faults that you're seeing, they're actually things in you at a deep level that you don't like about yourself. So so what happens with a partner is they bring out your inner wounds. They show you yourself. And when you use your partner like that, you have the chance to become whole. It's not about becoming whole through somebody else. You understand?
Yes.
All right. How is this making sense for you so far?
Especially the totality part.
Mm-hmm.
Immersing myself in whatever I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. I'm actually trying to do, as a young person, time is running.
Yeah.
We need to execute a lot of things, and I feel like this time I need to drop an album. I need to. I feel like I need to, but maybe it's not a necessary need at this time. But reflecting upon it, I see like I have other projects that I'm undertaking. I have work still.
Okay, I see. So knowing that, what you can see about these cards is that this is talking about being very present in everything you do. When you're very present in everything you do, things will just happen in the way they're meant to be. Okay, because you're going to a higher realm. You're functioning at a higher level of consciousness. So higher levels of possibility will come into play. But you don't need to do that because you want something higher, because then you're not fully in it. But just be fully in whatever you're doing. That's what it's saying. But also realize that it's a dance. You know what I'm saying? It's a dance with others. And then this card to me is really showing you that there are mirrors all around you. It's not necessarily about the lovers, but there are mirrors all around you. And there are things that are triggering you, that other people are triggering you about, and you're putting it out onto them. But actually, you have to look at it in yourself. And that's going to make you whole. Let's see what the third card says. Let's see what this says. This is sharing. It's a beautiful card. This is abundance. This is the card. So this one is really, it's a feminine quality, because the feminine often represents the physical world, while the masculine represents the energetic vibration that creates the physical world. That's how it's represented in spirituality. And so that's why this sharing is a feminine quality, because it's about sharing the physical and the material. Okay? So I think what it's saying is that you can get to this place where you are so full that you just want to share. It's just easy. You don't want to take. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I feel maybe you're fighting for yours. You know what I'm saying? There's a fight in you for yours, for your success, for what you dream of or what you think is success and all of that stuff. But if you use the others around you, the relationships around that you have in your life as mirrors for yourself, and you start to become whole with yourself because you start to heal the things in you that you're seeing in the other people, you can get so whole that automatically you'll be so abundant, you'll be so full, you'll start to have this quality of sharing. And not because you say, oh, here's my book, take my book. No, you will just be in your presence, and around you things will overflow. It'll be the opposite of where you are trying to get. You know what I'm saying? So you want to, you can definitely see this numbers of other people and the connection between others is relevant. The lovers, I feel like it's more like the mirror side of it that's trying to talk to you, and this is where you can get to. Then you'll not even be thinking about what you desire. You'll be so full, you'll just be dropping and dripping honey like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a beautiful card to get.
Oh.
It's not nice to share our stuff in camera. People feel very vulnerable, right? But I think the thing is that we don't realize that when we're vulnerable, we're actually like raw power. It's like raw power, because then the universe can speak to us. But if we're closed, if we're not vulnerable, it can't connect.
I think vulnerability is also something nice. Like you can't always maintain like a tough
facade, yeah.
So you need sometimes like to just let it go. And
let it go.
Just try to find the inner things that I feel like are weighing you down, or like they're affecting you, and you just reflect on things. And when you're vulnerable, you get a chance to actually think about it in the present and being in the
moment,
doing it,
exactly,
consciously realizing this and this is happening because of this and this, and this is how I can do or to change the situation, or to how the situation to mend it or something.
Yeah. My last question before we go is, what's the message in your heart right now? What is it that you really want to say to others right now? What is the message in your heart just in this moment?
Just be like, just go with the flow. As I started with, being the moment, being the present, tomorrow and yesterday are like they're non-existent. What we have is now. Like when tomorrow comes, like when you sleep and you wake up, it's like a restart. I usually see it as restarting the opportunities once again. So once you're in the now moment, just feel it, enjoy everything you're doing, and don't worry too much about tomorrow. Tomorrow will stress. Will worry about itself. Just be in the now and feel and enjoy the moment you're in.
Beautiful. Thank you, Neville. Thank you for your wisdom. No matter what age, background, education, gender, belief system, we all have wisdom. It's our inner wisdom. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. We'll see you next time on Deep Talk. Don't forget, we're www.iconradio.co.ke and we are on all the platforms, Icon Radio KE. See you next time.
Icon Radio.